Welcome to another Founder Wisdom podcast. We have Adrienne Jung with us. Is it Young or Jung?
It is young. Yeah, you had it right
Young,
the first
yeah,
time.
like
Yeah.
the psychotherapist, right? Psychoanalyst. Are you related to that Young?
No, I get that question a lot, but unfortunately not.
Because I did speak with some Youngs before, and they were related to the guy, the man himself, Carl. But
Yes.
yeah, Adrienne is co-founder and CEO at Eeva. She's an award-winning leader, public speaker, and introvert, a dog lover. So yeah, Adrienne, welcome to the pod. Tell us
Thank
a
you
bit
for
more
having me.
about yourself and what you're up to nowadays.
Oh man, where to start? I think as an entrepreneur, what I'm up to is it changes every day. A little bit about myself. So I live currently in Montreal, Canada. I moved here almost 20 years ago. Before that, I was a nomad. I lived a little bit all over the place. I recently 3 4 years ago started my business. So I had a professional career in operational leadership. So I had roles like COO, executive director, operations director, stuff like that. And because of my professional experience, I identified a problem in my personal life, and I thought I was well suited to tackle it. And so I did. And that's why Eeva was born. And I've been doing that ever since. And as you know, it's a roller coaster, but I love it.
Right, and tell us about Eva. I believe you were at Dragon's Den a couple of days ago, a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, we pitched on Dragon's Den just a week ago exactly, actually. I can't share, what came of it. You'll have to watch to tune in into season 20. But it was a wild experience for sure.
Yeah, I went to Dragon's Den probably like 7 years ago in one of my first company, which was a nootropic for the brain back then. So who are the investors that time, and yeah, who got the most interested?
So the dragons were the same as last season. So we had Arlene, Manjeet, Michelle, Brian, and Wes, and there was a celebrity dragon, which this season is Drew Scott from the Property Brothers. So that was very cool. Each one gave some really interesting feedback, had some really pertinent questions, and yeah, we definitely went through it.
Right, and Eva itself, it's home management, life organization, household collaboration. So
Yeah.
why did you decided to start that one?
You know what? I realized we have so many tools at work. Like you probably use CRMs, ERPs, operational tools, project management tools. When I was working in the corporate world, I could track my billable time down to the minute. But then you get home and it's like everything is on a whiteboard in the kitchen, or you've got Post-its a little bit everywhere, or it's just one person keeping everything in their heads. And that difference between what was available at work versus personally just didn't sit right by me. And so that was the inspiration.
And you raised 1.5 million for that one concretely. Like, have you launched yet? Who's your target market? And yeah, if I use it, what's it helping? What is it helping me with? Is it managing stuff around my house, my family? Like,
Yeah,
what's the
exactly.
usefulness of it?
Yeah, so we've actually now raised 2.8 million. And so the app is out. We've actually, for the next few weeks, we pulled it from the App Store because our version 2 is coming out in June that we're super excited about. It's got AI in it. And yeah, that's exactly it. So it helps you manage the day-to-day details that you have to keep track of: doctor's appointments, kids' schedules, grocery lists, what's the plumber's contact information, what type of air filters does your house need? What were your last blood test results from like 3 years ago? What is the brand of dog food that your 5 dogs require? All of that stuff in one central kind of operating system for your life.
Interesting. I tend to use ChatGPT for all of that, you
Yeah.
know. So what would be different in that app? What would why would I be hooked to it?
So we've created a structure. You know how like with the CRM that you use, there's a specific structure. It ties your clients to the accounts, to the emails and the calls. We've set up a structure that is scalable, and you can modify it based on what your life looks like, because your life doesn't look like my life. I've only got one dog. You've got five. And so what you have to deal with is going to be very different than what I have to deal with. And so we've built an onboarding system that you answer a few questions when you log into the app. You know, do you own or do you rent? Do you live alone? Do you live with your parents? Do you live with, 15 pets? And based off of that, it creates the ecosystem for you. We integrate with a whole bunch of stuff to pull the information in. So your emails, all of the different calendars that you use, everything consolidated into a single place. And then we've made it smart by adding an AI, which is comparable to ChatGPT, except it's specific to you, and you can give access to it to whatever you consider your family to be. Your roommates, your parents, your spouse and your kids, whatever that looks like.
So it's like a second brain, if you want.
Exactly right.
Who are you targeting specifically? What would be the demographics, psychographics of your ICP?
Yeah, we're targeting millennials. So they make up about a third of new home buyers currently. So they're kind of transitioning. They're in that phase of life where they're transitioning to getting a home, getting a family, and they're the first tech savvy generation. So they are looking for kind of something to help them manage all of the information that comes with like being an adult and having to manage all of this stuff all of a sudden. And we've also been Gen Z has also kind of taken notice.
And what's millennial and Gen Z again? Like I'm 93. Like what am I?
You're a millennial.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
tech savvy for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, my brother was tech savvy, still is. I mean, even my dad to some extent, right? But yeah, okay, I get what you're saying here. And the investment, it seems pretty heavy for a Montreal startup. So why did you put that strategy forward, and how did you manage to raise 2.8 mil so far?
Yeah, so we heard unofficially that we were in the top 5 startups in Canada with the most pre-seed raised, because all of that was raised pre-revenue. We've only started having revenue in February of this year. We went about things very differently. My co-founder and I are business founders, so neither one of us has a tech background, which makes us very different from the average tech company, because most tech companies are someone built something and then they're trying to sell it. We had an idea and a vision, and we sold that before we actually had the product itself. And we've been incredibly successful in doing so. People respond to the problem we're solving. They respond to the vision that we have and the way we're scaling this business.
Yeah, interesting. Pre-revenue, no clients. And what's your background for the record? Like, and what was your fundraising strategy? Like, what did you do that was not so common to raise almost 3 mil?
So we didn't raise 3 mil in one shot. It was incremental, right? So the first amount I raised was 50,000. With that, I created a website and a brand that got enough visibility to get me my next $100,000. And we just, every amount that we raised, we built on top of it, and we were able to get more. When we got to the product phase, we had a little sketch on a piece of paper that got us enough money to get a Figma prototype. The Figma prototype got us enough money to get an MVP, which then got us enough money to build the actual app, which is now what's available to the public.
And do you hire people? Who does the actual coding?
Of course, yeah. We have a team of 18 people.
Okay.
About half of them are engineers. We've hired, top world-class engineers who do the coding. We have data scientists as well for the AI portion of it. We know, my co-founder and I, that tech is our weak spot. We don't have a tech background, and so we've really made sure to hire accordingly and make sure we have that skill set.
Right. And how many users of the V1 that you deployed?
Currently, we have about 1,500.
1,500. And what was your go-to-market strategy? How did you get these?
Yeah, that's very interesting. We haven't spent a dime on marketing yet. We officially launched at CES. We were selected to be one of two startups to go to CES to represent the province of Quebec. When we were there, the response was just overwhelming. And so we launched our MVP. We weren't planning on it, but we got the response. And so we figured, why not? Let's get some traction. Let's see what the response is. And just from January to, I want to say April, we got 1,500 users without all organic growth, no marketing whatsoever. And so we realized our tech was not really equipped to handle the growth that we were looking at based on the trend. And so we rebuilt the app. We are coming out with V2 in June, and that's when we intend on actually spending some marketing dollars to get it there.
Right. So all free users, right? The 1,500. What's the pricing gonna be like?
It's going to be $9 a month or like $90 a year.
Okay, $90 a year. There's been other apps like that before, right? Like, have you analyzed them? What were the pitfalls and what were the
Totally.
major successes in your industry?
There are a few competitors. Most of them are focusing on the family aspect. So they go really hard, especially in the marketing, on parenting. They focus on families that have kids and are trying to manage everything that has to do with kids' schedules and food and all of that. We've steered clear from that. We're targeting adults that are kind of finding that life is overly complex, which is most of us at this stage. And family doesn't mean that you necessarily have kids. So from a marketing standpoint, our positioning is quite different. We've also adapted the features to be reflective of that. So again, we're not super focused on kid-specific features, although we have heard that we do have a few kids on the platform. They don't have access to the app, but the parents are using it as a way of responsibilizing, giving small
Responsibilizing.
responsibilities to the kids, exactly, to kind of introduce them to things like start taking the trash out, start doing the dishes, and things like that.
And again, I'm coming back to GPT as a power user.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I use like a family GPT that I custom created that people don't even think about doing that? Or
Oh, I think it's still fairly new. GPT is often seen as something that is kind of work specific. The branding is not something that you would necessarily want to invite into your home. There's still a lot of uncertainty within the consumer base around what does ChatGPT actually do with your data. They're actually quite clear on that, but who's taken the time to dig into it and to look at their privacy and data security policies? So I think there are a lot of players at the moment, especially when it comes to agentic AI, but the market is ripe for something that's consumer facing for your personal life, not at all geared towards work.
right. And yeah, the startup itself, how much have you diluted yourself raising that capital so far? Has it been fair, or like with the 3 million raise, almost you've given up like more than 50%?
No, it's been totally fair. We've raised it all on safe, most of it with no valuation cap.
Interesting. And how's the Montreal startup community nowadays? How's that one doing?
It's good. It's vibrant.
Is it?
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen it's taken a few hits. So I don't know if you know Notman House, but that closed, and that was a
Yes.
definite hit for
That
the
was sad.
community.
Very sad.
Very sad. Yeah, it was definitely a hit. And we're seeing a few other places pop up in an attempt to kind of fill that void. But overall, I think the Quebec government has done its fair share in making sure that the ecosystem stays vibrant. But there's definitely more work to be done in kind of internationalization, right? Going outside of Quebec, going outside of Canada. We're going to be raising our seed round at the end of this year or early next year. And we're definitely going to have to go to the States, unfortunately. We want to stay local, but there just isn't the money that we're planning on raising here in Canada.
And once you raise that seed, what specific marketing channel will you invest in? TikTok and these types of social medias, I
Yeah,
guess?
based on kind of the target users that we're aiming for, it's definitely going to be social media. Influencers, definitely. We're planning a few guerrilla marketing campaigns. And honestly, word of mouth has been the biggest thing for us. People understand what we're going for, and after using it, they do recommend us. So we're banking on that.
Right. And where do you see yourself going? Because I use, yeah, ChatGPT, but I also use my calendar quite heavily to manage pretty much everything in my life. So, what kind of UX do you see your app merging into in the next couple of years?
So, I mean, specifically when it comes to calendars, it's a good example. So you don't have when you consolidate everything in Eeva, you don't get an Eeva specific calendar. We consolidate all of your calendars, and that the accumulation of that becomes your Eeva calendar. So you're not adding another calendar to your list. You're just kind of consolidating all of the ones that you have. And we play nice with, Google Calendar, Outlook, whatever you have that we can throw in there. And in the version 2 we're coming out with in June, you're going to be able to take pictures of paper calendars that you've got lying around, whether it's your trash schedule or, whatever it is, and that'll get added as well. The
Got it.
UX was really important in how we built the app. We invested really heavily in that because we wanted it to feel anti-corporate. This isn't a tool for work. This is for your personal life, and it's a very different ballgame.
Right. How's it been for you in the last couple of months raising that much money? Has it been stressful?
No. I almost feel bad saying that. We haven't struggled with raising at all. Where we have struggled is more on the tech side, which I attribute to the fact that neither my co-founder nor myself are tech founders. But we hired a world-class CTO just a few months ago. He's been incredibly helpful, and now the tech is finally going to be as strong as the business side has been.
I think that gap is bridging though with vibe coding. Have you tried the cursor and all these tools?
Yes, we so our team vibe codes for sure, but that for me, and this statement is applicable not just to vibe coding but AI in general. You have to hire people who understand how to use AI, that understand the pitfalls, and that there's going to be hallucinations, there's going to be bugs, there's going to be all of that. And so we hired people, we trained them on how to vibe code and how to go through what we use Windsurf that they use, and yeah, it's definitely increased our output by about 60%. So it's been, yeah, world class. Used right, AI makes a difference in everybody's job.
Right. And tell me a bit more about the AI component precisely. Like, where does that kick in my experience?
Yeah, so we've got generative AI to kind of automate as much as possible, but we're also working on machine learning to anticipate and predict. So it will say, "Oh, you haven't had a doctor's appointment in 3 years. You might want to make an appointment," or you haven't, I don't know, your grandma's birthday is coming up in 2 weeks. Do you want me to add like a gift for her on your shopping list? It learns the more you use it. I don't have to teach you about AI, but we take the benefits of that and we apply it again to your personal life instead of work.
How can we revive the AI revolution that was supposed to be happening in Montreal, the Joshua Bengio
Yeah.
days? How can we revive that and the startup scene in Montreal and compete with Silicon Valley, for example?
That's a great question. I mean, I think if I had the answer to that, I'd probably be going out and doing it. The ecosystem is still there. I think it's just struggling a bit when it compares its identity to kind of, to your point, the big brothers of Silicon Valley. Having more of an international presence and an international influence is definitely something that can help. We've got all of the right ingredients. To your point, we have all of the AI institutes and the top, influencers and thinkers when it comes to that space. I just don't know that we're using them in the right way. But again, I don't necessarily have the answer to that. I'm just happy to be a part of it at this point.
Because isn't Quebec and Canada like a bit too social to even compete on that level? Like the government tends to fund startups. I think that can be good, but I think we need to hand this off in the private market by definition, there's less concentration of capital in Montreal, especially in tech. But I think we're also very much risk averse, right? Places in the world like Quebec City are known for like the insurance capital, right? Like
Yeah.
it's always de-risking stuff instead of risking it. And also in Quebec, most of wealthy people that I know are in real estate, which is also not super risky, but also not super fast growing. And I think this house of card will fall eventually. So I do think like if you, yeah, sort of, I think it's a culture thing. I don't think it's something necessarily that we can crack.
I agree. There's definitely, I mean, Quebec, the culture in Quebec can be a discussion in and of itself. There's a lot of pros and a lot of cons, which I think the province accepts, you know, for what it is. I think we're at an interesting time though, where we're going to see things with everything shifting in the United States with the current political climate. I think there's a real opportunity for other countries, especially Canada, having such close ties to the United States, to really fill a gap that we're going to be seeing in the States. And so who it remains to be seen who will pick that up, whether it will be Quebec, whether it will be Canada as a federal country, or other provinces. I think is going to be very interesting to see. But there's potential, and I hope Quebec does take advantage of it.
Right. What's next for you? What are your top goals this year?
We're coming out with V2 next month. That's the only thing I'm looking at currently. And then getting as much traction as we can for the rest of the year in time for our seed raise. On a personal note, I would love to do some traveling. I've been so busy over the last few years with all the raising and the building and all of that I haven't gotten to travel anymore. So I'm really hoping to do that. But yeah, just making sure that we get that product to the market and we're filling a need. That's the only thing I'm focused on right now.
Thank you, Adrienne. Where can people find out more about you?
You can check out my LinkedIn, Adrienne Jung. Otherwise, I also have a website, adrienneyoung.com. Feel free to check me out and reach out.
That was